Welcome to another deep dive. We're going on an adventure today, exploring the animal kingdom.
Ooh, sounds fun.
It is. And we
Yeah.
have this really cool animal characteristics lesson to guide us.
Okay, awesome.
Get ready to see animals in a whole new light, too. I
Yeah.
mean, from tiny insects
Right.
to, like, the giants of the ocean.
It's going to be quite a journey. We'll be uncovering, well, the secrets of what makes an animal,
Yeah.
explore their diversity, and even, delve into how they develop
Okay.
from a single cell into, like, these complex living beings.
That's incredible when you think about it. So let's
Mhm.
start with the basics. What exactly defines an animal? What sets them apart from, say, plants or fungi?
Great question. The animal kingdom,
Mm.
or as scientists call it, kingdom Animalia, has a few key features that kind of unite all of its members. So, for starters, they're all eukaryotic, meaning their cells have a nucleus, that control center,
Yeah.
holding their DNA, and they're all multicellular,
Okay.
made up of many cells working together.
Just like plants. So what makes animals unique then?
One of the biggest differences, I think, is how they get their energy. Animals can't make their own food,
Yeah.
like plants do through photosynthesis.
Yeah.
They're heterotrophs, which means they have to eat
Oh.
other organisms to survive.
So like that image of a lioness taking down a zebra, that's a pretty dramatic example of a heterotroph in action.
Yeah.
But even if we're not chasing down zebras, we're all heterotrophs too. We get our energy from eating plants or other animals.
And think about how animals get that food.
Yeah.
They're able to move, whether it's a cheetah sprinting across the savanna or a snail slowly gliding along. This ability to move
Yeah.
is another hallmark of the animal kingdom.
So they eat, they move.
Yeah.
What happens to that food once they eat it?
That brings us to another key characteristic: internal digestion.
Okay.
Animals have these digestive systems that break down the food inside their bodies, extracting nutrients, energy.
Oh.
And unlike plant cells, which have those rigid cell walls, animal cells are more flexible, allowing for a greater range of movement function.
So no stiff walls holding them back.
Yeah.
And the lesson also mentioned sexual reproduction as a key characteristic. Is that universal in the animal kingdom?
It's the most common way animals reproduce.
Okay.
But as with everything in biology, there are always fascinating exceptions.
So, of course, there are always exceptions.
Now let's talk about just how diverse this kingdom is. When you picture an animal, what comes to mind?
I immediately think of, like, the classic groups, mammals, birds, fish,
Yes.
reptiles, amphibians.
Uh,
The lesson had this amazing collage showcasing the incredible variety within each group, too.
yes. And, each of these groups has
Right.
unique features that set them apart. So mammals, like us, are warm-blooded,
Right.
meaning they can regulate their own body temperature. So that's why you see a fluffy polar bear, like, surviving in the Arctic,
Right.
while a camel thrives in the desert.
Right. Meanwhile, reptiles, amphibians, and fish are cold-blooded, relying on their environment to regulate their temperature.
Exactly.
That's why you often see lizards basking in the sun.
Exactly. And then you have the difference in coverings.
Oh, yeah.
So mammals have fur or hair for insulation. Birds have feathers for flight and insulation. Fish and reptiles have scales for protection, waterproofing.
Hmm.
And of course, there's a difference in how they reproduce.
Yeah.
Mammals give birth to live young, while the other groups typically lay eggs.
It's amazing how much variety there is, even within these, like, familiar groups. But there's a bigger division in the animal world that we need to talk about: vertebrates versus invertebrates.
Yeah. Here's where things get really interesting. So vertebrates, like us, have a backbone, also called a spinal column,
Oh,
which provides support, structure, and protects the all-important spinal cord.
The spinal cord is pretty vital for, well, pretty much everything our body does.
Absolutely. Now get ready for this. Invertebrates, those animals without backbones, actually make up a staggering 95% of all animal species.
Whoa. 95%.
Yeah.
I never would guess that. It seems like us vertebrates are outnumbered big time.
We are. It's a common misconception to think of vertebrates as the dominant form of animal life. But the truth is the invertebrate world is incredibly diverse and fascinating.
Wow.
Think insects, spiders, worms, snails, jellyfish, and even those spiny starfish. The lesson even showed a sea turtle, which is a vertebrate, swimming alongside a crayfish and a squid, which are invertebrates.
Right.
It really highlights just how different these groups can be.
So many amazing creatures. Now let's shift gears and talk about how these diverse animals create more of themselves.
Okay.
I know there are different ways they reproduce.
Yeah. We need to explore the world of internal versus external fertilization.
Okay.
So internal fertilization, as the name suggests, happens inside the female's body. This is common in mammals, birds, and reptiles.
And that requires compatible reproductive organs.
Precisely. Then there's external fertilization, where the egg is fertilized outside the female's body.
Okay.
This is common in aquatic environments, like with fish and amphibians.
Ah, like those images of fish eggs we often see.
Yes,
They're a perfect example of external fertilization. Does this difference in fertilization strategies affect the number of offspring produced?
it does. Internal fertilization typically results in fewer offspring
Okay.
compared to external fertilization.
Interesting.
It's fascinating to think about the evolutionary trade-offs involved.
Fewer offspring, but perhaps with more parental care, they have a higher chance of survival. Now, how does a single fertilized egg, whether fertilized internally or externally, actually develop into a complex animal? That's where things get truly mind-boggling.
You're about to enter the incredible world of embryonic development,
Okay.
where a single cell kind of embarks on this amazing journey of transformation. It all starts with the three primary germ layers, the ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm.
Okay.
These layers are like the blueprint for building an animal.
So each layer is responsible for creating specific parts of the body.
Exactly. The ectoderm, that outermost layer of cells in the embryo, might seem simple at first, but get this. It develops into some pretty complex structures, like the skin and the nervous system.
Wait, the skin A and D, the nervous system come from the same layer. That's mind-blowing. Tell me more about how that works.
It is pretty incredible. If you think about your skin, it's your body's first line of defense, a protective barrier against the outside world. And the nervous system is this intricate network of nerves that allows you to sense your surroundings, think, and control your movements.
Yeah.
Both of these vital systems arise from that single layer of cells, the ectoderm.
Huh.
The lesson even shows a diagram of the different layers of skin and how the ectoderm forms hair, nails, even sense organs.
Wow. So what about the mesoderm, that middle layer? What does it form?
Fasten your seatbelts,
Okay.
because the mesoderm is responsible for a whole lot. It gives rise to your muscles, bones, the circulatory system, and parts of the excretory and reproductive systems. It's mind-blowing to think that all this complexity originates from a single cell layer.
Seriously. Those are all completely different systems that are essential for keeping our bodies functioning. And speaking of muscles, didn't the lesson mention different types of muscle?
It did. We have skeletal muscles, which are
Mhm.
responsible for all our voluntary movements like walking or raising your hand. Then there are smooth muscles, which work behind the scenes to control involuntary actions like digestion.
Right.
And of course, we can't forget about cardiac muscle, that specialized muscle tissue that makes up our heart.
Wow, so much complexity even within the muscle system. To really understand how a single cell becomes a complex animal, we need to take a closer look at some of the key stages of embryonic development.
You're right. Let's start with the blastula, a hollow ball of cells
Okay.
that forms early in development.
So it's like a tiny fluid-filled balloon.
That's a great analogy. And that fluid-filled cavity inside the blastula is called the blastocoel.
Okay. Then comes gastrulation, a process that transforms the blastula into a multi-layered structure called the gastrula.
Right.
This is where those three germ layers we talked about, the ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm, truly take shape.
So the gastrula is where the blueprint for the animal really starts to come together.
Precisely. The lesson even includes a helpful image of a developing embryo to help you visualize this incredible transformation.
This is all so fascinating. I'm starting to see embryonic development in a whole new light.
It truly is a remarkable journey, and it highlights a fundamental concept, the unity of life. Even though animals come in all shapes and sizes, the basic processes of development, from cell division to the formation of germ layers, are remarkably similar
Wow.
across the animal kingdom.
That's an amazing thought. It really underscores the interconnectedness of all living things.
It really is remarkable how, despite the incredible diversity of the animal kingdom, there are these fundamental processes that connect us all. It makes you realize that even though a jellyfish and a giraffe might look completely different at the cellular level, they share a common heritage. It's pretty awe-inspiring. But I have to admit, all this talk of germ layers and gastrulation is pretty complex. Why should our listeners care about these microscopic details?
Well, understanding these fundamental biological processes helps us appreciate the sheer wonder and complexity of life itself.
Okay.
It's like peeking behind the curtain, to see the intricate mechanisms
Right.
that create this amazing diversity of forms we see in the animal kingdom.
I like that analogy. It's like we're getting a backstage pass to the greatest show on Earth.
Exactly. And beyond the pure wonder of it all, this knowledge has practical implications too.
Oh, okay.
For instance, in medicine,
Right.
researchers often study animal models to gain insights into human health and disease.
That makes sense considering we share so many similarities at the cellular and developmental levels.
Precisely. And think about conservation efforts. Understanding the unique characteristics and adaptations of different species is crucial for protecting them and their habitats.
So this deep dive into animal characteristics
Mm.
isn't just about fascinating facts. It's about understanding the interconnectedness of life and using that knowledge to make a difference in the world.
Absolutely. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's tap into that sense of wonder we were just talking about. Imagine for a moment that you could be any animal.
Oh, wow.
Which one would you choose and why?
Ooh, it's a tough one. So many incredible creatures to choose from. I
Right.
think I'd have to go with a bird. Imagine soaring through the sky,
Yeah,
feeling the wind beneath your wings, experiencing the world from a whole new perspective.
that's a fantastic choice. And it highlights one of the most remarkable adaptations in the animal kingdom, flight. The ability to, take to the air has allowed birds to colonize diverse habitats and exploit a wide range of food sources.
It's true. Birds are found on every continent, from the icy polar regions to the lush rainforests, and they come in such a variety of shapes and sizes, from tiny hummingbirds that can hover in midair to giant albatrosses with wingspans that can reach over 11 feet.
It's true. The diversity of birds is truly remarkable, and each species has evolved unique characteristics that allow it to thrive in its particular environment. So what about you? If you could be any animal, what would you choose?
That's a tough one. I've always been fascinated by cephalopods,
Okay.
creatures like octopuses and squid.
Excellent choice. What is it about them that fascinates you?
Their intelligence, their ability to change color and texture,
Oh, wow.
to blend in with their surroundings, their um, incredible dexterity with those tentacles.
They're like something out of science fiction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And their nervous systems are incredibly complex, even though they're invertebrates. It makes you wonder what it would be like to experience the world through their senses.
It's a tantalizing thought,
Yeah.
and it speaks to the endless mysteries and wonders that the animal kingdom holds.
Speaking of mysteries, I'm curious to learn more about the incredible adaptations that animals have evolved over millions of years. We touched on things like fur for insulation,
Right.
feathers for flight, and scales for protection. It's amazing how each adaptation helps animals survive and thrive in their specific environments. What other cool examples come to mind?
Well, think about camouflage,
Yeah,
where animals blend seamlessly into their surroundings to avoid predators or to, sneak up on prey.
right.
Some animals take it a step further
Oh.
with mimicry,
Okay.
imitating the appearance or behavior of other animals
Interesting.
to deter predators.
It's like nature's own magic show.
It really is. And these adaptations aren't just physical. Animals have also evolved a wide array of behavioral adaptations.
Look what.
Think about complex mating rituals, like the elaborate dances of birds of paradise, or sophisticated communication systems, like the intricate songs of whales.
It's amazing how natural selection has shaped such a diverse array of survival strategies. It's a reminder that evolution is an ongoing process, constantly shaping and reshaping life on Earth.
Precisely. And as we continue to learn more about the animal world, we're constantly discovering new and amazing adaptations that challenge our understanding of what's possible.
Wow.
It's an ongoing journey of discovery.
And on that note, I think we've reached the end of part 2 of our deep dive.
Okay?
We've journeyed through the incredible world of animals, exploring their defining characteristics, their mind-boggling diversity, and the fascinating processes that shape their development.
Yeah.
We've seen how understanding animal biology not only deepens our appreciation for the natural world, but also has important implications for human health, conservation, and our understanding of life itself.
It really does.
And we've been left with a renewed sense of wonder and a desire to learn even more about these amazing creatures that share our planet. It really is incredible how much we can learn from the animal kingdom, and as you mentioned, there's always more to discover. I know our deep dive today was inspired by this animal characteristics lesson, Have you been enjoying the visuals as much as I have?
Absolutely. They really bring the information to life, especially that collage of animals from different groups.
Yeah,
It's a powerful reminder of the sheer variety of life on Earth.
I agree. And it's not just about appreciating the beauty of these different creatures, but also recognizing the crucial role that diversity plays in a healthy ecosystem.
That's a key point. Each species has a unique role to play, and the loss of even one can have a ripple effect throughout the entire ecosystem.
Right.
It's like a delicate balancing act where each element contributes to the overall health and stability of the system.
And a good reminder that we're all interconnected, from the smallest insects to the largest whales, and we have a responsibility to protect that delicate balance.
Absolutely. We're all part of this intricate web of life, and our actions have consequences for the entire planet.
Speaking of interconnectedness, you mentioned earlier that even though animals are incredibly diverse, they share fundamental processes like cell division and the formation of germ layers.
Hmm.
What else can we learn from studying the similarities between different species?
Well, those similarities can provide incredible insights into our own biology and evolution.
Oh, okay.
By studying how different animals have solved the challenges of survival and reproduction,
Yeah.
we can gain a deeper understanding of our own place in the grand scheme of things.
That's fascinating. It's like we're using the animal kingdom as a giant living laboratory
Yeah, exact.
to unlock the secrets of life itself.
And who knows what incredible discoveries await us as we continue to explore those unexplored corners of our planet and delve deeper into the mysteries of the animal world.
It's exciting to think about. Well, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive for
Huh.
today. It's been an amazing journey exploring the defining characteristics of animals, their mind-boggling diversity, and the incredible adaptations that allow them to thrive.
We've covered a lot.
We have. We've seen how understanding animal biology not only deepens our appreciation for the natural world, but also has profound implications for human health, conservation, and our understanding of life itself.
Absolutely.
And hopefully, we've inspired our listeners to continue exploring, questioning, and diving deep into the wonders of the animal kingdom. There's a whole world out there waiting to be discovered.
I completely agree. It's been a pleasure exploring with you today.
Likewise. And thank you to all our listeners for joining us on this deep dive.
Oh.
Until next time.